This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Welcome to the 16th episode of the Deployment Dojo. This is a live show where we introduce software installation topics using the WiX Toolset. I'm your host, Rob Mensching, and joining me today again is my very good friend and the first student of the Deployment Dojo, David Edson. David, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
We got to jump right in this. I don't know how much we have to cover. We got plenty of things to cover. But we've been talking for the last few weeks about variables. About the different ways that you can configure your MSI to change without having to edit the code each time, right? We talked about build time variables with preprocessors. We then went and talked about how you could configure where it installs by changing directories. We talked about then how you could configure things with properties and set variables within the install at install time. And then we jumped back and showed how we could build multiple languages installs using WIXL files. Does all that sound familiar, David?
Sounds familiar. Yep.
Good. So we actually have one more class of variables to talk about. But before I can talk about those variables, we need to go back and talk about a topic and talk about a topic. Talk about something that we actually touched on in sparring one time. And so that once we understand that concept, then we can apply the last set of variables to the space.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable? You're gonna wander with me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump in and get our project up and running like we usually do. And just one more time, two more times, three more times. I don't know. I have a plan on how we won't go through this beginning, but I like going through the beginning again so you guys know that there's no smoke and mirrors. Everything's here. Martin's here. Martin, welcome. It's great to see you. Let's go jump in the first kata, David.
All right.
All right, here we are at our handy dandy command prompt, and we have a sandbox and our batch file, just like we usually do. I'm gonna bring up Visual Studio real quick here. Oh, I got a lot of windows in the way. On my other desktop, it's a shortcut. Up comes Visual Studio, and what do you want to create first today? Hey, there's episode 15. We'll remove this from the list. Oh, no, not pin, remove. We're going to create a new project. Which do you want to create first? The C# project or the MSI project?
I don't really know which one would be. Does it matter?
No, it does not matter.
Yeah, well, then we can do the MSI first since you're on there.
We've done the console app several times here, so we're going to do this one. All right, solution name. We'll call it episode 16, and this will be called episode 16 as well. This will create our MSI, episode 16 MSI by default. Create. Up comes Heatwave. Ooh, actually, you know what? I'm not even sure which version of Heatwave I'm running because I've been doing a lot of development on Heatwave lately. Been fixing a few bugs that people have been reporting. So I guess we'll see which version we're running here. If anything goes sideways, it might be because I'm running a later version of Heatwave. All right, we have our MSI project. We can build this. Let's go ahead and build it. Make sure it builds. And if you remember, by default, this MSI installs this one source file by itself. Not terribly exciting, so we're going to go ahead and create our new project. We'll add our console app. That's fine. Create that. And we're going to add our static code here. Console.write line, please. Hello, episode 16. Can't spell, but that's okay. Episode 16, console.read key. Boom. All right, Now we have an app that'll say hello world basically, but episode 16, you guys know that we're here in a new one. And the last thing is to make sure that we get the build tied together. We're going to say my MSI dependencies, my MSI Heatwave WiX project here depends on the console app 1. And the last thing to do is to change this. So we're actually installing console app 1.exe. This is all very familiar, right?
Right.
No surprises or anything like that. And if we build this MSI, we know we'll see it'll build our console app, and then we'll build our MSI. And why is this pausing, David? Why does this always take so long in MS build?
The verification.
Yeah, static validation gets us every time.
Validation, right?
Yeah. All right, but that's okay. It's worth it, probably, maybe. Yeah, it's probably worth it for right now. You know what? Today we're turning it off because I brought it up. How do we turn it off? We go into properties. We go to build. Oh, we need to work on the font here in the build.
Right.
And
Does it make a big difference on whenever you have a sizable, install when you actually turn off the validation?
Validation.
Like here, it's in the matter of what, seconds.
A second.
But when it's large, does it actually make a difference?
It can. All right, we're gonna build now. Okay, so this finished in 4 seconds last time. All right. And I'm going to edit this exe real quick.
Sure.
And I'm gonna get rid of this toolbar that has popped up on the world. Take a vertical space that I don't have. Okay. So I've edited files of both. They should do a new clean build. Let's clear the window. That was 4 seconds something. We'll do a build now, and that finished in less than a second.
Right. Okay.
So as far as percentage of build time spent in validation, that is pretty ginormous.
Right.
Yeah, it's something I keep thinking about. I don't think we're going to tackle this in WiX 5. I'd like to tackle it in WiX 5, but it's a large project. But we could really get a lot of speed if we could re-implement all of validation as just checks during the build of an MSI inside WiX, rather than calling out to the Windows installer mechanism. But that requires us to re-implement everything that they've already done, which is, as you can imagine, no small feat. They've got hundreds of these static validations. All right. This is great. You know what? I always say this. Are we going to install it? But I always just I feel safer installing it. So we'll bring up the here. Go. Oh, wait. All right. Okay. I haven't installed it yet. Go back. I don't like this because we always forget. We are who?
The Dojo.
Yeah. We're just going to be short. And since we turned off validation, which of course is not safe to do, but it's fast for us right now. Boom, we're done in about that long. Like you can't get much faster than that. It takes that long just for MS Build to start up. Okay. We have an MSI, we have program files. Hey, it didn't open my other folder. I wonder if I messed up the batch file. Down at the root, we have created in our sandbox a Dojo. There's episode 16, episode 16 MSI, bin, x86, debug, enus, episode 16 MSI. Ready?
Right.
Install. Into program files. Oh, this is a thing I've noticed. Where is it, David? Why is it not here?
I'm looking here.
Where is it? I'm going to open another.
Oh, that different program files, the other
program files. And this is something that we've noticed in Heatwave. There it is. Now 32-bit. Console app. Ta-da! Hello, episode 116. What just happened? Hey, we're going to take a quick detour here. We tripped over something and we're going to talk about it. This is 32-bit. Well, how do you control which kind of architecture you're building for? Well, you control that here in this build configuration manager. And what's interesting here is that notice episode 16, our project there's built for x86, which makes sense because we just got installed to if I bring up the sandbox, we got installed to the 32-bit location. So we built a 32-bit MSI. When it installs to a 32-bit location. Because it's not 64-bit, it can't build there. But we have seen cases in the past where when we build, we get 64-bit. And what's the difference? Well, it turns out depending on which of these projects you create first, Visual Studio will say if you already have a project in there, they decide to default your project to x64. But if you don't have it, then they'll default to x86. And we've actually brought this up with them. And they're like, well, we generally want people defaulting to x64 if you have any of these other projects. And we're just like, and we don't have control over it. We haven't figured out a way to control this inside HeatWave yet. So there you go. Little tidbit for the world of builds inside HeatWave. That is how you can control. I don't want batch build. I want configuration manager. I'm now going to switch. Oops. Okay. Actually, I pushed the wrong thing. I'm going to switch over to the 64-bit active solution. So I want him now to be 64-bit. All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Just a quick little detour when we install next time, because I had the sandbox set to open up just program files. We will now see our MSIs over there instead. All right.
Got it.
All right. But it worked. Our MSI worked. And I'm really glad we did that, because that would have really tripped me up later if we hadn't just tried the basics. This is why you always try this again and again and again. Martin's like, go beat up on the Visual Studio team. We've been having a lot of conversations with Visual Studio team lately. We've been WiX RCs. We're now in RC1, getting close to RC2, has been doing a nice job. People have been jumping on and finding bugs, and we've been finding some very interesting edge cases that we've been having to solve. All right, cool. So I uninstalled the MSI. We're now back at program files. There's no Dojo folder here. Of course, there's no Dojo folder here, and we're good to go. And I should have noticed that, look, when we built this path right here, straight to x86, okay?
Right.
All right. Now when we look, yeah, we haven't built yet, so we don't have an x64. Okay. Next time we build, we need to make sure that we have x64 folder. I'm actually going to, I wonder if I clean. All right, like, what did that do here in the sandbox? Did it clean everything? No, I don't think it cleaned the x86 at all. All right, we're gonna delete that from the command prompt. Okay, time to close the sandbox. Time to get back on track. Time to get to why we are here. All right, I'm going to go in and from the command prompt, just because I like the command prompt, go into episode 16, which is the MSI package. And I'm going to say, please get rid of bin and obj folders for me. Boom, nice and clean. All of it. Now, HeatWave will restore everything it needs, and we're good to go. Okay, let's talk about why we're here, what we're doing today. We're going back into that world, David, where we had multiple teams working together, or we needed to organize our code because our project was getting too big, and we wanted to kind of separate pieces in different places. All right.
Okay.
And to do that, do you remember what we created? Do you remember the thing that we created? This is a long time ago. It was kind of just a side project. Do you remember? We created another project in here.
I'm trying to remember, but it's not.
It's that one right there. We created a WiX library. Okay.
Okay.
So a WiX library, and we'll call it library. Library one's just, actually, we'll call it library for episode 16. Actually, no, console app 1. That's where we're gonna go. All right, so I named it library console app 1 because I felt like it. All right, now a library allows us to take all logic out of a project and put it into a reusable unit where we can share it across multiple projects. Okay. All right. No. All right. That's useful here. And you'll notice it's just this empty fragment. We can put anything that we want in here. All right. So I'm going to take example components, this component group right here, and I'm going to rename it so it's a little clearer. What is this? This is actually console app 1 components. You agree?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? And we'll make sure that this ID maps there. All right. This all makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of here and put it into this folder. I don't need this library here. Yes, I know I'm deleting that file because I just copied the file I wanted. Boom. All right.
Okay.
Now notice this library will need to know where install folder is. And it will need to know where console app 1 is at. Oh, well, we can do that. We'll add a project reference to console app 1. Now my library will know where console app 1 is. And I'm going to remove, I want to manage, just remove. I'm going to remove that, all right? So now episode 16 does not reference the console app 1 anymore.
Okay. Right.
So that means that if we were to build episode 16, I lied. Hey, look, didn't I said cut. It didn't delete it out of here. Okay. That's what I wanted. I wanted to move that file from there to there. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. This does not have console app 1 in it. If I say build right now, will this project build?
I'm not sure.
Well, if we look.
Should. I think it
Yeah,
should, right?
it should, except for this right here. Right? Because we're asking for example components. I renamed it and put it in a different place. Right? I said,
right.
I picked up this component group and I sent it somewhere else, and I happened to rename it. So let's go ahead and grab that. Why do I have? All right, I want it. There we go. All right, so we'll rename it. That's what we named it, right? Now, if I build, will it work?
Console app 1 components. Yes.
No,
I'm going to
because
say yes.
I'm inside this MSI pack project, and I can't find that identifier because I moved it over to this other project. So I was able to take the logic, pick it up, and move it to a new project. Any guesses what I have to do to make things work again?
No, I thought fragment was enough that it would all. Okay.
So what I want to note is that this library is being built. It contains all of its logic inside of it in its own WiX lib. And this project has its contents inside of it. To use the library, I need to add a project reference over to it.
To the library.
To the library.
Yeah. Okay.
If I don't have the project reference, I can't use the stuff that's inside the library. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, that it does.
All right. So add the project reference, library, done. Wait for this to resolve. Well, if it will. This is one of those. Is this one of the things that I was working on? It's just getting dangerously close to the bug we were fixing. And if I build, could not be found. Yeah. Okay. Let's look. Oh dear. What did I do to break this?
You're sparring with yourself a little early today, huh?
I am. I I was unprepared for this heatwave build to have this problem. Let's look real quick and see which one I have. 093. That should be okay for where we're at right now. Project reference, library console app that. And it should have built output. Let's see if we build this. Well, let's make sure I didn't make a typo somewhere, because that's also possible. All right. So it's saying console 1 app. Oh, did I make a
components?
What the? Oh, this is Visual Studio getting me again. Notice this is the file inside library console app 1 right here. Remember how I copied it and pasted it over here?
Yes.
And I said, oh, I'm going to change the name of the component, but notice the name didn't change. Why didn't the name change? Because I forgot to save it before I copied it. And Visual Studio will copy the file on disk underneath, and then I save it, so it saved that file over here. All right. Okay. Does that make sense what I just said?
It does.
All right. Let me show you another. I can do it again with another file. Well, let's build. All right. So what have I done now? I've now changed the name of this console app 1 like I meant to for the component group. And now it should match my console app names here. And when I build, I cannot find the file console app 1, the file password check. Did I not set the dependency here? Build. And then build here. Oh. All right. I found another bug, David. I'm gonna have to go open this when we get done. There was a little bit of this, and remember in the beginning of the dojo. See, I've gotten so comfortable with everything just working because we've been so far along. This is one of the first times I hit that problem where I expected the path to work out for me, and it's not. So I'm gonna bind the files in the library. All right. Just for your edification.
You might have to explain. Yeah.
Exactly. What does this do? By checking this box, what it's going to do is as it builds this library, it's going to. Here, I'm going to show you. It's going to take the files that it needs and put them inside the WiX lib with everything else. So I'm going to open this folder in Explorer. And this is going to be a little small, I know, but hopefully you can see it. So this is the library being built.
Right.
And here it is. You can see WiXlib. And I don't know if you can see it. It's 1K.
Right.
Now, if I bind the files into this and I build this library again, my hope is that this will get, it's just not big enough, I bet.
Yeah.
Let's go look. We have now taken console app 1 and put it in there, and console app 1 is 5K, so this should be bigger. Did I get a caching? But all right, well, oh, it didn't save. I'm having problems with saving today. Now I'm going to build with that checked box. And built the library, refresh. Well, the other thing is that WiX libs are compressed. So they take their files, compress them. It's possible that this thing is just too small that we're not seeing a difference.
Right.
Let me try to build this real quick and see if it works this time. Oh man, the demo gods have come out for me today. They're just out to get me. This concerns me that I've hit this problem here. That this is not showing me the detail. All right, how do we work around this for now? We put.
And was this all due to you just copying the
file
copy
over?
that instead of building it there?
No, this is the scenario not gluing together, that how it's all just supposed to work, right? So you're seeing basically a live train wreck as it kind of goes through. So I'm going to try from the command line real quick. Oh, that's interesting. I forgot Heatwave will put those in there. All right, so you see in my project now I have this lib bind files.
Right.
I don't know if that's the command. That might not be the right command. That might be the bug in Heatwave actually. So what am I going to do? I'm going to, in episode 16, I'm going to go into the library and I'm going to build it from the command line here. Just like we always can. Okay. This is a nice thing. You can always debug from down here, right?
Right.
MS build. Okay. The reason I'm doing that from the command line is because I can see a little bit more here. And now I want to see, that's still 1K. My thinking is that this is the bug. I don't think it's called lib bind files. It's called just bind files. And we may have just uncovered a bug here. I'm going to build, doesn't matter. I've saved it. I'm going to build from the command line.
All right.
Now let's look at the size here. No, same size. Let's try to build here. And it worked. There we go. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay. All right. We're going to rewind. What happened? We had a series of issues all kind of stack on top of each other. All right. We're going to go back to the beginning. I brought this file. I'm going to put this file back over here. I'm going to undo what we've done.
Sure.
Put us back to like how we would have been when we started. All right.
Now you still have an unsaved file up there right now. So, I don't know where you want to start from.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. I'm going to start here. Now this was called example components. Today you get a lesson in how to kind of problem solve when things go wrong.
All right.
That's, I think, what we're going to call this episode. When everything falls apart, how do you kind of navigate your way around and finding all these things glued? All right. I'm now back to much more like what this project would start with, where we said episode 16 depends on console app 1, and it's still called example components. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Now, I still have a reference to the library. I'm not going to go all the way back and build it. Okay? But, all right. So you see how example components has this name here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay. We want to rename this file console app 1 components.wxs.
Right.
And when I do that, that's fine. Like, okay, cool. I rename that. And then I'm like, okay, what? We need to change the name of example components. So let's go ahead and change that. Okay, now you see the star up here.
Yes.
I have not saved this file. Then I went over here and I copied the file. Actually, I cut it and I pasted it. Notice it copied it, but it didn't. All right, I cut it and I moved it over. Let's see if I can undo that. No, I'll do it again. Let me move it. Will it let me move it? Yeah. Okay, so there's a move. I'm just dragging it, right?
Sure.
And I'm telling it to do a move operation. And that would have told me right there that I have unsaved changes. Cancel. All right. So what I did here was I copied the file and pasted it. And when we look at the file in the new library,
it's pre-save.
It still has example components.
Yep.
Okay. So that was the first part of this problem. And then the next part of the problem is that there's a scenario here that I need to go back and look and make sure everything glues together the way I expect it to, because I expected everything to flow through okay, that the files from library 1 would be able to flow into episode 16. I understand why they don't. I'm not going to go into that here because we haven't talked about those kinds of problems. I've been keeping it very simple, so you being able to diagnose this is kind of hard. I understand that, but I want to keep it simple. Now, I'm going to delete that file. Yeah, see, that's how I got in that situation. All right, cool. Okay, that's how I got in that situation. So then I went into HeatWave. No, not that way. Yes, actually, this will show it. Can I do a new vertical document? Yes. All right. So we can see over here. And before we did this change, that bind files would have been missing. Okay. So when I go into HeatWave and I'm like, hey, HeatWave, I would like you to do the bind files, aka when you build this library, take the files that you need and put them inside the library. Okay, right? Yep. That's what this bind files means. So take the files, put everything into this one WiX lib for me. And when I check this box, watch what happens. Ignore the condition here because we don't have to worry about that part. But notice it calls it lib bind files.
Yes.
So that's a bug in FireGiant code where we have named this thing wrong. So we have a name wrong somewhere in the HeatWave code that says, when you check this box, add lib bind files, but it's only supposed to add bind files. So there we go. We found a bug in HeatWave that I'll go back and we'll get fixed. That'll be very trivial. Somewhere in the code, it's going to be like, oh, lib bind files. Nope, just bind files. Okay?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
All right. So we found that bug in HeatWave. All right. Now that works. Oh, actually, I want to show you this too. Notice I saved the file over here. Notice the checkbox went away. It's like, no, you've named that wrong. Like, okay, I know better than HeatWave today. That's fine. We will fix that bug before RC2 comes out. Okay, so, oh boy. What do we have now? We have a library with console app 1, and I'm able to build this. There it is. And I still have a directory open to that WiX lib. Ah, there it goes. See, now it's 3K. Remember when we didn't bind the files? It was 1K. Now it's 3K. And the file that we're embedding is 5K. Like I said, the WiX lib does a minimal amount of compression. Okay. Great. So now we have a WiX lib that we know has the file in it. And we have a project reference from episode 16 over to the library. And when I build this, example components could not be found. What's this problem? You know what this problem is? I have a component group ref. So this is a ref to the ID example component. Does the example component group exist anywhere?
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Clearly not.
It's right here. Console 1. Yeah.
Yeah, we renamed it there, and we need to fix it here. All right, cool. And when you build, a lot of this is, I need the setting of Visual Studio that saves as soon as you lose focus. Because I become, when I use VS Code, and I've been doing a lot of VS Code stuff, just using VS Code for a bunch of editing random text files all over the place. I get used to that save when you lose focus thing. And when I get back to Visual Studio, it just doesn't do that. And it always trips me up for a while until I get used to it again. All right, now when we build, we're good. Why? Because we built the WiX lib that included the console 1 app, and then we took that WiX lib and we used it inside this MSI to build all of its contents. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm gonna install it just because I want to see it. All right. Now, which one are we working with here? We are working with x64. x64 is important to remember. Okay.
Right.
We're going to spin up the sandbox and we're going to go in. Martin's jumping ahead, which I do want to get to. I'm hoping I have time. Why is it not opening? I forgot to look into why it didn't open C:\Dojo. Open C:\Dojo, please. Into the folder we've been building in. Episode 16, bin x64, debug enus. So we're in x64. When we install this, we want to see something show up in program files. There, yay! And we still have console app 1. All right, so I'm just going to close sandbox. We're good. So what did we do? We reorganized our MSI package here to use this library. Why would you do that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, why bother with that? All right. Well, here's one reason you might want to. Add new project. We're going to add another MSI project. We're going to call this episode second package for episode 16. Create it. So now we're gonna have 2 MSIs. And for whatever reason, I'm gonna call this second. All right, cool, great. Second package. And we're gonna call this actually Deployment Dojo Professional. All right. We're gonna come back and call this one Deployment Dojo Community. Free. We have Pro and we have Free. We have 2 different MSIs. That's how they're different. But we want both of them. We want them to carry this X unit, right? So I add a project reference to my library. Hit OK, and now I can build the whole solution. Hopefully. Oh, example. Yeah, I did it again. I said, hey, here's example components. Well, it's not called example components, it's called console app 1.
Right.
All right, now we build again. It does save on build at least. If it didn't do that, I'd be totally a mess here. And we now have a build succeeded. All right. Okay. I'm going to open up our Dojo start and see why it's not starting up. Oh, it's not starting up C:\Dojo because we're not telling it to. All right, there's our batch file for the... Good?
Good.
So now I have 2 MSIs that I can install. And they're installing the same file to the same location. All right, sandbox, spin on up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. There's program files folder. We're going to install episode 16. What do we install? Episode 16. We'll install the free version. Let's say we go out. We're like, let's test this episode 16 MSI thing here. Does that. Let's see if it says free. It does. It says Dojo free, and we have Dojo free episode 16, and we have console app. It's great, right? Hey, look, it worked. Everybody's like, yes, of course it worked. That's what we've been doing the whole time. But now we have second package for episode 16, and does it install the console app? Well, here we go. Let's install it. Program files, and there's Deployment Dojo Professional, second, and there's our XC again. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's like, woohoo! Very nice. So what were we able to do? We were able to, we're doing sandbox. I was able to take my single authoring in this one library and share it across these 2 MSIs without having to retype all that, create the reference to the console app and things like that. Right.
Okay.
It saved me doing all that extra work. And you're like, well, come on, like, is that really a big deal? Right. Okay. Well, it gets more interesting when, let's say this library is owned, and this is the scenario we had before, where the library is owned by another team, the team that runs console app. And our job is to maintain both the free and the professional versions of episode 16 MSI. Right? So we're like keeping track of the packages and maybe the versions and the upgrading and the localization of the MSIs. And this one team is just responsible for their console app, right?
Right.
Okay. So if we open this, like, one of the things that we've not had to worry about because .NET NetEffects is already on the machine, but there's this config file here that is part of the build, which actually comes from this, which says, hey, here's the supported runtime that I want to use. Technically speaking, we should be installing this file as well. I know I can skip over it because everything just works. So we need to add that file the dev team that owns console apps like, oh, hey, we need to add this file to be installed. Well, okay, if we had that file defined both in episode 16 and a set package, we have to go enter it here and in the other one, right? I'd have to go enter it twice. Well, here I don't have to. I could just go, oh, you need another file? Let's go ahead and grab that file. Ta-da. Let's go ahead and build. I will do build solution. I will spin up the sandbox while it's doing its build. Notice the library had to rebuild and it's building all the MSIs for me in parallel. Look at that parallelization. Look at that. 1, see these numbers? You can see these numbers here. That tells you which CPU it's running on. So it's able to build the 2 MSIs in parallel. All right, so which product do you want to install first, the free or the professional?
Yeah, 16 is the free one there?
Yeah, that's the free one. All right, you want free? We'll do free. Yep. Not like they're different, but that's the thing for next episode.
Right.
Okay, here we go. So what do we expect to see in this folder?
The free console app one.
And?
Oh, that config file. No,
and that config file with it. That's the important part. And there it is. Okay. Oh, all right. That's good. That worked. Does it work for the professional one? Was the dev team responsible for that able to make one change in one place and we were able to get into both of our MSIs?
It should work, hopefully.
It should work. All right. There's seconds installed. Come back here. Look for Deployment Dojo Professional. And there's 2 files.
Nice. Okay.
Boom. So what we're able to do, we're able to put all of that configuration hidden away inside of this WiX library.
Okay.
Libraries are a way of sharing code. You can think of them from a C# point of view. You can think of them as assemblies. Like you have your exe assembly and then you create another assembly. Why would you create a separate assembly? Why not put all the code in the exe? Because you want to organize it differently. WiX libraries allow you to do the same thing, so you can organize your code, reuse it across multiple MSIs, or just inside one MSI if you want to put it into a separate one and isolate some of the code. Like, look, this is the library for console app 1. This has all console app 1 stuff in it. And then you can use it inside your MSI, as opposed to having all the console app 1 inside episode 16. Again, at things this small, it's hard to say it's worth it. Except when you have 2 of them, right? It gets a little easier to justify the 2 of them.
Right.
All right. Given all those bumps and bruises and things I went through to get there, any questions, David? Things to think about, other stuff. Martin's raised an issue that I'm going to talk about in the next Deployment Dojo to get into that.
Oh, the install folder?
And how, I want to talk about install folder and notice when we're installing these, how they're getting installed into these 2 different folders. It's like we're going to work on our branding a little bit to give a community a free version and professional version without having to do so much extra work. Okay. Anyway, that's next time. Anything about libraries, things that are kind of confusing about libraries?
Not yet. I know I'm going to think of something as soon as we get off here.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I really want to talk about access modifiers, but I don't think we have time today. So we're going to call it here. Welcome to Real Development. Welcome to RC1 of WiX and pre-releases of Heatwave. I'm going to go make sure we get that bind files bug filed and then fixed. And everything else has been working fine now, right? Oh, no. And then I'm also going to figure out why these yellow stickies are here, because they're not here. Look at that. I don't know what that little yellow warning is up there for. I'm going to have to go dig into that too. They should not be doing that. These should be nice and happy, just like this guy is.
Right.
So the value of the dojo, David. Remember, one of the things that we said in the beginning that honestly we've been like smooth sailing, I've forgotten about, is that we're going to pick up some bumps and bruises, and here we are finding some things that we need to go get fixed.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like just a reminder, this is software. I guess we could hit it even after it shipped. Same thing. All right. So next time, we're going to take what we learned with libraries. We're going to bring back another class of variables, the last class of variables that I want to talk about inside the WiX Toolset, and kind of try to start tying together all these different variables that you can use. Well, we'll probably just use new kind of variables And the episode after that will tie it all together and wrap up all the different kind of variables that you can use in the WiX toolset. Until then, you guys keep coding. We'll see you later. Bye.